2. Ever since Mabel had started babysitting on Spite Lane a few weeks earlier, she'd been cagey about the details. If her friends asked any questions, she would change the subject or find a reason to walk away. This time, she hopped up from her spot at the table and began rooting through the refrigerator, stalling. "Mabel, seriously? What happened?" Archer pressed. "Nothing. It was nothing. Just the usual," Mabel insisted, digging around inside the fridge. "Watch the kid, play with the kid, get paid, go home." She pulled out a carton of milk and took it to the counter. Archer continued to probe. "Mabel, this is Spite Lane we're talking about. Are you telling me there was nothing unusual about the babysitting job?" Everyone in Lost Key had heard the rumors that Spite Lane was haunted. Kids loved to scare each other with stories about how the houses tortured their inhabitants in unique and violent ways. Archer didn't totally believe in ghosts, but he felt the rumors had to have been based in some kind of reality. "What about the kid?" Archer asked. "Did you get any Children of the Corn vibes?" Mabel found a glass in the pantry and poured the milk into it, taking a long sip before answering. "Nope." Mabel wasn't known for her brevity. Archer's frown deepened. "Something's up. What are you not telling me?" Mabel stared at Archer with a hard look. Archer couldn't read her face, but he got the impression there was something she wanted to tell him. She just didn't know how. He was about to push harder when his grandmother walked back in. Before going to the counter, she paused briefly to kiss Archer on the top of the head. "I'm so proud of you," she said. She went to the counter and grabbed a knife from a drawer. Tapping the bars to check their temperature and finding them just cool enough, she pressed the knife into them and cut out a bar. She lifted it, set it on a small plate, and handed it to Archer. Archer took the honey bar with a pained smile. Mabel could barely contain her excitement. She held out her hands to receive the bar before Dinette had a chance to cut another one. Once the bar hit Mabel's plate, she immediately snatched it up and stuffed it into her mouth. "Mmm," Mabel moaned. Her eyes rolled back in her head. Dinette chuckled. "Goodness. Doesn't your mother feed you?" "No, but my brother feeds me," Mabel said, with a stuffed mouth. Dinette cut her another bar. "Well, tell him to feed you more often." Meanwhile, Archer picked fussily at his bar, putting what amounted to mere crumbs in his mouth. "You can both have as many as you like," Dinette said, placing another bar next to Archer's barely eaten one. "Gotta keep my hard-working grandson fueled so he can keep making honor roll." She gave him a wink. "These are so good," Mabel cooed, reaching for a third bar. Noticing Mabel's glass, Dinette asked Archer, "Do you need some milk too, sweetie?" "No, but thank you," Archer said. Dinette topped off Mabel's glass and put the milk back in the fridge. "Well, then, I'll let you two get back to chatting. I assume you have lots of homework. If you need anything, I'll be out back watering the bougainvillea." Dinette waved as she exited through the back door. As soon as she was gone, Archer wanted to continue where they left off, talking about Spite Lane. But Mabel rushed to the table with her own inquisition. "What gives? You haven't touched your bar. Don't you love them? They're so good." Archer blew it off with a wave of his hand. "I guess I'm not hungry. You want it?" Mabel grabbed the uneaten bar and stuffed it in her mouth. "I don't get it. You love sweets," she argued around the food. I know. Archer rose to fetch a paper towel. He used it to carefully wrap up the partially eaten bar, which he then stuffed into the bottom of the trash can under the counter. "What are you doing?" Mabel yelled, leaping after him with an unsuccessful attempt to save the dessert. Archer huffed. "She makes me these bars all the time," he explained. "I used to love them. Like, really love them. Then one day, I ate an entire tray in one sitting while my grandma wasn't looking. It made me so sick. I threw up for hours. Now I can't stand the taste." "Then why does she make them for you?" "I never told her about it. It was years ago. If I told her now, it's too late." "You could just tell her to make you something else." I feel too guilty." Archer shivered as though trying to shake away the feeling. "It's easier just to let her think I love them. Know what I mean?" Mabel, suddenly serious, nodded. "Yeah, I know what you mean." Then she turned to the bars. "But I'm taking a bunch of these to go." Archer snorted. "Be my guest." He found a plastic baggie in the pantry. As Mabel placed as many bars as she could fit into the bag, she said, "Hey, listen, I gotta go. But I'm serious about the babysitting thing. I got 2 offers for the same time, so I can't take them both. I'll even give you the easier one, since you're a babysitting noob." "Gee, thanks," Archer huffed. "It's this guy who just moved to town with his son. The kid is 8. Just wants someone to keep an eye on him for an hour every afternoon while he's out back tending his bees." "Bees?" "Yeah, he's like a backyard beekeeper or something." "His backyard. Is that safe?" "I don't know." Mabel licked her fingers before picking up her backpack. "I'm sure it's fine. You'll probably hang out, like, inside the house or whatever. It's not like there are bees in there. And he's paying $30 an hour. You're sure?" Archer said, following her. "Yeah," Mabel said, fast walking to the front door. "Starts tomorrow." "Tomorrow? After school? How are you getting there?" "Sivan can drive us," Mabel said, referencing her older brother as she stepped out the door and onto the front walkway. "Pick you up at 4. Be ready." "See you." Mabel jogged away without looking back. Archer knew Mabel was keeping something from him, but he couldn't imagine what. Obviously, if Spite Lane were haunted and they were in danger, Mabel wouldn't take another babysitting job there, would she? It had to be something else. Archer closed the front door and went back to the kitchen. He didn't know what was up with Mabel, but there was one thing he couldn't deny. $30 was more than enough money to keep Parker writing his U.S. history essays through the end of the semester.